Want to get more sales without being salesy? Well, you've come to the right place.
Check this out.
This is the Sales Gorilla Podcast. All right, welcome back to the Sales Gorilla Podcast with your host, the Sales Gorilla himself, Landon Porter. Landon, how you doing today, man?
I'm awesome sauce, Nathan. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, except for there's this one internet marketer that I just really can't stand because he does everything wrong, and I'm going to use this time in the beginning of the show to call this guy out and explain everything that I hate about him. Is that okay?
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
But that's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, if everybody jumped off a bridge, would you?
I mean, I don't know. Probably not.
This is just my opinion, and this is just advice from some guy on the internet, and you don't have to take this advice. But peopling and relationships and positioning and market stance is kind of my thing. And one of the things I see a lot of people really get wrong is how to throw rocks the right way, right? Polarizing, being polarizing, planting their flag on their hill. There's a lot of ways to do that. There's some ways that seem to be more effective and efficient than others, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Again, this is just advice. You don't have to take this. You can do it however you want. But I'd like to explain what happens when you do this certain ways.
So I was obviously being facetious at the beginning of the episode because I'm actually 100% in alignment with you on this. But it is something that I see people do a lot of. I see people say, oh, fuck Gary Vee. The hustle bullshit is bullshit. And if you really want to know the truth, you got to do it this way. Or they say, oh, they call, especially like taking shots at gurus. This person's 3 levels up above me. I'm going to make my name by calling out why that person is bullshit. And everybody who thinks that that person is bullshit is going to agree with me. And that's how I'm going to start my tribe. And I can understand the mentality, especially coming from the rap game. That was a very popular thing to do in hip hop. Target somebody who's sold 50,000 more units than you and use that as a way to boost your own numbers. In marketing, though, and in general, I have kind of moved away from that mentality. And I think that you probably have, I just kind of have a gut feeling that it's not a good thing to do, but I'm assuming you probably have some good reason behind it.
Mm-hmm. Here's my take on life in general. You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion, and you're more than welcome to make a case for your opinion. But at the end of the day, I still have the choice to choose what I want to believe, think, feel, do, etc. Right? And what that means is there are people out there that have a completely different opinion than I do in any area, right? Sex, religion, politics, money, the way to raise kids, the way to like whatever, right? Business, marketing, selling. That's fantastic. You do you. You do you. As long as it's working for you, then fantastic. Do it. However, we're all climbing a ladder. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the top CEO of the end-all be-all company on the planet. I don't care if you're the end-all be-all direct response marketer. I don't care what it is you do. I don't care if you're at the top of your craft. You're still climbing a ladder. And you can climb that ladder with the people that are around you by stepping on others to get up that ladder, or by helping others up that ladder and being helped up that ladder, and everybody has a ton of respect and admiration for each other. In my opinion, there's one right way to do that and one wrong way to do that, and then everything falls into those two categories. One of the things that what prompted this is I see a lot of quote unquote marketers, or like the younger guys like me and you coming up in this space where we have our opinion and fuck everybody else, they're wrong, and this is the way to do it, and everybody else and everybody in every other way is wrong. And that's actually not accurate. The way I sell is not the right way for everybody to sell. The way I market, it's not the right way for everybody to market. The way I people, right? The way I live my life, it's right for the people who like that way and want to learn how to do that way. But just because you think you've got the right way doesn't mean you should be out there proclaiming that all the other ways are wrong. And I see a lot of fucking people do that all the time. And some people seem to have a little bit more merit and like, okay, cool, to an extent that makes sense. But you can't tell me how to raise my kids, and you can't tell me how to do sales or marketing or design or email, whatever, this one way, and everything else is wrong. And again, just an opinion from some weird guy on the internet.
Well, there's like a bunch of different ways that I want to take this conversation, but I want to hit on what you just said, some weird guy on the internet. How much do you think the ability to, I guess, social media, because it's not just in marketing. I see this in politics. I see this in movie reviews. I see this in fandoms. This mentality of the way I see it is correct, and the way everybody else sees it is everybody else is a bunch of jackasses. And I look at like Facebook threads or Twitter. Twitter is worse, where people just start to dogpile on each other, and it just becomes this giant shit show of people saying my way or the highway. How much do you think social media has added to this my way or the highway mentality when it comes to marketing?
I don't think really it's added to it. Gary Vee said this years ago, and I don't remember how long ago, but he said social media is just a place for people to be found out, right? The truth of how people are comes out on social media. I don't think that social media adds to it. I don't think that marketing and what marketers have done have added to it. I think if anything, what social media and marketing and sales has done to it, meaning the way humans interact with each other, is just kind of exposed it, right? And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that are leaders. There's a lot of people that think they're leaders, but actually really don't know how or actually can't. And by and large, in the big scheme of thing, the vast majority of people on this planet are actually followers. Another thing that Gary Vee said is not everybody can be the number one, but there's a lot of people that are trying to that could be the perfect number two or the perfect number three. Fantastic. The people that find their place in those areas are still leaders if they do it right. But this just kind of it pulls the curtain back to how fucking immature and teenager the vast majority of us adults are. It's like fucking junior high. And it's really because we're all seeking approval. Like that's where it comes from. Like I'm going to take a stance against that, and I'm going to call that out, and I'm going to get on my soapbox, and I'm going to mother that person on the internet. And look at me, aren't I big and bad? Yeah, you sure are. It's going to take about 3 months for your entire business to crumble around you, and not even your friends are going to like you. That was rad. Good job. Right? And then the other piece of that is my way is the only way. My way, da-da-da-da-da. Awesome. So you're the smartest person on the planet, and you've got every perspective that there ever could be about that specific thing. And you've determined that this one way is the only way that's the right way for everybody. Awesome. I don't think so. That doesn't work. What's right for me might not be right for you. And if it's not, then fantastic. Then I don't want to tell you that my way is the right way. Like that's the whole point. Right? The way I raise my kids is not the way everybody else should raise their kids.
So, two things that you brought up that really struck home for me right there. I don't know if it was this episode or last episode. You talked about what you admitted to watching Friends, so I'm going to make a guilty admission too. a movie that I watched one time with Bella was Mean Girls. And in Mean Girls, they have this dog pile mentality. There's the inside clique, the 4 or 5 girls that treat all the other girls like crap. And in the movie, one of the messages is don't be like that, because really quickly those people can turn on you. And I see that in certain cliques inside of marketing. There's the, oh, we don't like this person, and then next week it's, oh, we don't like this person, and if you do like that person, then it might be a quick turnaround. Well, now we don't like you either. So one kind of life lesson that I learned very on is just don't gossip about other people and don't engage in gossip, because people that like to gossip, people that like to run other people down behind their back, they're probably doing the same thing or likely to do the same thing to you when you're not around. So how much does that play a role in picking out people and targeting them and joining these little cliques of internet marketing?
Yep. If they do or say or engage in anything that you wouldn't want done to you, steer clear. Right. Um, Another aspect to that is nobody's 100% accurate 100% of the time. That's perfect. And that doesn't exist in this world. And you might have a really, really, really cool way that's done absolutely amazing from a certain perspective for a certain group of people. But as soon as you say this is the only way to do it for everybody, you're automatically wrong. And one thing I want to kind of touch on again, because I like touching on again, I said a couple of minutes ago, is it's approval seeking, right? We're all insecure. None of us are 100% secure in every area and aspect of our life. And one of the ways that a lot of us do this, and it's like if you go back in my world a year and a half, 2 years ago, one of the things that I used to talk about a lot is the people that do sales the way that I disagree with, it works for a lot of them. And the people that they're selling to, that's how they want to be sold, and they should go do that. But from my perspective, that's the angry 12-year-old boy mentality who's going to step on whoever he needs to, and he's going to get his way. And in that statement, he is not just the guys. I see a lot of women in this space doing stuff that I'm like, man, I guess here's my thing. If I wouldn't treat my mother that way, I wouldn't treat other people that way. Period. Right? That's just the way I see it. But it stems from insecurity, and approval seeking is the effect of the cause being insecurity. And it's one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like somebody's like big and bad and they're on the internet and oh my God, they look amazing and they're crushing it and people love them. Who? They're really insecure. Wow. They need approval. Oh, I thought they were perfect. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
So what's the proper way to handle it then? Because there are certain things that I see people do that I'm just like, that is, and I don't even want to be guilty of it, but I am. That is not the proper way to handle this. And maybe it works for them, but I look at a lot of the audience and I'm like, they need to hear the other side of the story. So how do you go about presenting the other side of the story without being that douche canoe that resorts to dogpiling and picking a fight with people and using other people's status to improve your own?
Never throw rocks at a person. Never throw rocks at a person for the sake of throwing rocks at a person, right? There's a couple of people in my space that I've called out on more than occasion, and it's to demonstrate the contrast. Hey, I don't agree with the way this person does it. If you do, that's fantastic. Go learn from them. Here's what I don't agree with about the way they do that. This piece, this piece, this piece, this piece, this piece. And for some people, that's the right way. Again, go learn how to do that their way. Here's how I see it. This way, this way, this way, this way, this way. And here's why I think that's better. And here's why that works better for me, right? By and large, don't throw rocks at the person. Don't throw rocks at necessarily even their way. Throw rocks at the concept, right? I don't hard close people. Here's my thing. And this is a stance that I hold firmly. If you're not strong enough to make a wise decision on your own behalf, I'm not going to be the one that talks you into it, because I don't want weak people in my world as clients. If you need to be talked into something, you ain't ready for it. Here it is. You're going to have to reach out and take it. And that's the way I think that sales should be done. Do I leave money on the table? You're goddamn right I do. But I also leave a lot of headache and frustration and nightmares and shitty fucking clients. Man, there's going to need to be an explicit language on this one. I leave all that shit on the table too. I might leave 30% more money that I could have on the table when it comes to selling the courses and stuff, but I leave 98 or 99% of all the nonsense on the table by doing that, right? Time, effort, energy, money. Like, the last thing I want to have to do is tell somebody, I don't like you, here's your money, go away. And there's been a couple of people that you slip through the cracks, and it's just like, Jesus Christ. But if I closed everybody I could have, I'd have another 200 people like that just make my life miserable. Now, some people are totally good with that. They should do that, right? Maybe it's part of their growth process. Maybe there's lessons in there they need to learn. Maybe the world requires them to maintain the balance that it's got. Whatever. Not for me. And my stance on it is if that's also not for you, if that doesn't feel good for you, here's another way to do it. It's not the only way. Certainly not the only right way, but here's another way that works really well for me. And then if you kind of feel the same way, it might work for you too. I think it comes down to not throwing rocks at people, and not even throwing rocks at the way it's done, but throwing rocks at the concept, the cause and the effect of the thing. And not throwing rocks all the time. The little boy that cried wolf one too many times was eaten by the wolf. And sometimes the wolf does not look like a wolf. Sometimes the wolf looks like plainclothes people on the internet with money to spend. Guess what? That can also be the wolf.
Mm-hmm. I think that as we're closing, I think that that's one thing too, is a lot of customers will see that, a lot of potential customers will see that and say, this is not somebody I want to do business with, even though they seem like they know their stuff really well. This one aspect that they're constantly personally attacking people just completely turns me off. And I know that has been the case for me, something that I take into account before I work with somebody, before I do business with somebody. And it was a hard lesson to learn. And it was a lesson that I finally learned. And I think that you're right. Maybe for some people, it's just a growing period or a growing phase that they have to go through before they realize that it's probably not the best way to handle situations.
You know, my inner child is a mean little fucker. Truly. Like, that's my natural tendency is to be angry and frustrated and mean, and I'm intelligent-ish. And so it's pretty easy for me to have that silver tongue thing and just lash out at people. And as I've grown, what I've come to recognize is there's a lot easier way to present my case that doesn't cause disrespect. It causes respect because, hey, Landon said that if I'm like this, or that, we might not be a good fit. I'm really glad that he did that. I respect that. I've actually gotten that from people. Dude, the way that you're talking about you wanting to do this thing and you're looking at buying my coaching or my mentoring, we ain't going to be a fit. Well, why? Because I don't agree with that. Like, if you want to go scrape emails off of LinkedIn and set up a bunch of automations to spam people, like, we ain't going to be a fit. Oh, really? You still want to do it that way? Yeah, I kind of do. Cool. We're not going to be a fit. Don't give me your money. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Right? Did I throw rocks at anybody that does that? Nope. Did I garner any disrespect from my marketplace because I'm being a complete shitbag to somebody else? It's not my way to, it's not my place to tell other people that you're doing it wrong. It's my place to say, hey, if you don't like that, that might not be the right way for you. I've got another way. That's how you do it. Simple.
All right, Landon, we covered a lot. I think that the biggest thing that I guess takeaway that I want to leave people with is division and drawing lines in the sand and getting people passionate about one side or the other. It does have its place in marketing, but when it comes to making personal attacks, probably not the smartest way to go about creating that sense of us versus them when it comes to actually calling out and naming a particular person and going after that particular person.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
All right. I feel like we beat a horse to death here, but not a horse with a particular name. Um,
That's
until,
funny.
until next time, if people want to check out more episodes of the podcast, where can they go?
salesgorillapodcast.com, bitches.
All right. Awesome, man. Until next time, I will talk to you later.
Peace out, Cub Scouts.
Right.